All right, everyone, I'm sad to announce Vice Media's, they're having some fucking problems. Big problems. They only made, get this, about $600 million, so they're going to have to cut some staffers. Apparently, they were expecting to grow in their income to some higher degree, and they're like, oh, well, we hire some more staff, we do our outreach, our advertising thing, and then we make more money. The problem is that kind of media is no longer really cutting it with the younger crowd. The idea, it's like, it's funny. Because as you get older, things change a little bit. Like 10 years ago, it's like, Vice, or I think they were around 10 years ago, I think. And like Colbert and all of this stuff was considered like cool, like edgy and cool, especially for like the college kids, the older high school kids. Now it's not. Now it's like it's passé. It's boring compared to alt media. Because the alt media can do things that they can't do. You look at it this way: how many people do they actually reach with that 600 million in income? Let's look at like after taxes, after expenses, everything else. Let's take that budget, divide it up among all the people. I wonder, how many millions of dollars per person it actually adds up to, even afterwards. I can't imagine they have thousands of staff. If they do, then I guess that's an even worse situation for them fiscally. How many people do they actually reach with that money, as opposed to some people, they have a YouTube channel, or maybe they shit post on Gab all day or something. They're reaching tens, hundreds of thousands of people with no investment at all. Or for a very small investment, they're reaching audiences that sometimes total in the fucking millions. That's a huge budget, $600 million, and you can't, and you watch, they'll do what the New York Times did when they started having fiscal problems, or Salon or something. They'll cut a couple staffers, a couple of the mailroom people, and maybe a copy editor. That's what they always start with. They're very reluctant to start at the top and get rid of the least efficient individuals that they actually field. That fundamentally, do you think that the average user of Vice Media, any of the app or anything else, actually cares about who has written the article, or is it primarily the brand that they focus on? So if you have some heavy-hitting journo getting a six-figure salary for them, the fact that they're a heavy-hitting journo supposedly doesn't really matter in regards to them doing anything for Vice. No, you could have anyone writing those articles. How many people actually pay attention to who the article is by? A lot of times opinion pieces and basic news get conflated together. People don't even monitor what category on the site it's going to be posted in. Well, opinion, political analysis, science, whatever. This happens with CNN. This happens with all the others. How many times have you said, oh, wow, I recognize this writer, and so it's got to be a really good one? No, only people that really pay attention on the hardcore level, and they typically do their own analysis like I would do, to news and politics are likely to even fucking notice. So they should start at the top. They should cut their CEO's salary. They should cut the salaries of their heavy hitters, people that are getting, upper five figures or more to work for them. Instead, they'll probably start at the bottom and at the middle. Get rid of a couple of editors, which they sorely need, by the way. Editors always suffer. I love being an independent editor because I don't have to deal with this bullshit, because they're always going to be considered expendable, and then they'll fire the night janitor and a couple staff. Someone from the mailroom, maybe someone, the person that they pay, a six-figure salary to deliver fucking donuts and coffee every morning. This is the inefficiency of the legacy media. The overall audience of Vice, the number of people reached by it, is not commensurate with their budget, and they can't even make do with a $600 million of pure income because of their expenses. Like Salon last year, when they had to move out of their office building and downsize because they couldn't even pay their rent. They were behind on rent. They couldn't even pay their fucking rent. This is a multi-million-dollar media organization that supposedly was like the next big thing. Years ago it was considered maybe cool. And now it's like they're insolvent and they have all of these problems. Even the New York Times is cutting staff. The fact is that the pool of non-independent media and personalities is shrinking. It's being sucked up by the alt media, which is exactly why they're trying to kick all of us offline. That's exactly today, Jim Acosta video. Sarah Huckabee Sanders shares out a version of the Acosta video. The staffer's trying to grab the mic. He pushes her hand away. By the way, that's not assault. I'll be talking about that separately. I got to take a little bit of umbrage with the right on this as well as the left, because everyone's misconstruing it. They're not focusing on why the event actually matters because they're too busy being partisan in the wake of the midterms. Everyone's trying to spin it because right now they're like hypersensitive towards what happened to taking the House, taking the Senate. Bullshit. Shares this out. The reason why her sharing out of the video clip was attacked, people were saying, well, it's a doctored video because it's zoomed in and slowed down a little bit. That's not doctoring. Every media firm does similar things all the time. It doesn't fundamentally change what the video depicts. That's bullshit. The reason why they're upset is that it appears it was shared from InfoWars, because they've tried to deperson InfoWars to convince people that it doesn't exist because they're tired of competing with an actual smaller independent entity. You know, it doesn't exactly have a $600 million budget. I think their budget's like 5 or 6. By the way, even that, technically speaking, inefficient. When you have people that you have to pay large sums of money to do what can be done for free by anybody who has a webcam and standard editing capabilities, yeah, it's a little bit different. Independent individuals should syndicate themselves together into little confederations and start cross-editing and making little shows online. They could literally replace the cable news media in a matter of, I'd say, a decade. Over the course of the next decade, we could crush the cable news media out of existence, consolidating communications power in our own, perhaps more benevolent hands. We could do it for a hell of a lot less money. We can serve people a lot more easily. It would be a lot more interesting, and because it would be a lot more independent, it would be a lot more beholden to actual ethical standards of journalism. That includes on-the-ground journalism as well as everything that goes into compiling that and analyzing it, making the political predictions, actually, making the shows and so forth. And it would be less censored. Like, even on lamestream tech, I could still say fuck here. Like on YouTube or on Twitter, I can say fuck it, basically. Can't do that on cable news. They'll bleep you out. If you go on CNN and you're giving an interview in your little fucking rent-a-tux and stuff, and you say shit, they can get fined. That's why they have a delay and everything else. It's hilarious. I think it's crazy. I think the whole world's going crazy, number one. But Vice is especially crazy. You're clinging to relevance. You're like a dinosaur in the age of flight. Yes, you are very monstrous and big and very, very scary and intimidating, but you're not going to be able to eat my helicopter because I'm 100 feet above your head pelting you with rocks or something like that. That's essentially the alt media. Yeah, we're a bunch of helicopters soaring over the plains. There are a bunch of Neanderthals down below trying to hit us with slings and spears and stuff. It's not going to work too well. It doesn't matter if you're more numerous. It doesn't matter if you were big and intelligent and entertaining, 20 years ago. It's basically the missing link media. So yeah, Vice is a caveman tribe, and the cable news media, those are dinosaurs. And then you've got some protoplasmic jelly in the surf, sort of being nasty and slimy, and that's like, radio news at this point. So they're even more, you can't get rid of them. They're so vestigial that they've become nostalgic. It's actually very funny talk radio. So Vice is having problems. They have to cut some of their staff. They only made $600 million. Wow. Yeah, I would love to have a portion of that budget. Yeah, somebody give me $600 million. After I pay off all the taxes on it, I wonder what wonderful things I could do. Probably half of it would go into just, hey, I'm going to shitpost constantly. I'm literally going to hire people to do non-stop ads all over the internet because there's nothing else to be done with it. What's the fucking point of having oh, yeah, I've got the cubicles, and we've got the mail room, and we've got 5, sets of bathrooms. We have our little office building. Why? Why do you fucking need such a setup? It's no longer necessary for the functions of such a media organization. Have a shack out back. Have one house with a fucking shit shack out back with a generator so that you can still put your articles on and shit. If the power goes down, it's not a problem. And have a satellite feed or something. Okay, that doesn't cost $600 million. And the average person is not going to actually charge you 6 figures to edit an article. You don't need to pay, okay, we'll pay you $10,000 to write this article because you've got name recognition. That is so inefficient. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. That's about all. Peace out.